Hi, welcome to a special forum today for San Jose City Council District 10. This is sponsored by the League of Women Voters, San Jose Santa Clara. We are a nonprofit, nonpartisan group that work for active participation. We want to educate all the public and all the voters to ensure that our American democracy and our system of government works the way it's supposed to. Today, we want to make sure you know that we do not support, endorse, or oppose any candidate or any political party. We're very happy to have the two candidates that are running for District 10 with us. And all of our questions that we will be using have come from the public. The candidates, by a toss of coin, before we began today, will begin with statements and followed by the questions. Each of the candidates will have a minute to respond to the questions, and there is an opportunity for rebuttal after that. So we're very happy to welcome with us today Robert Braunstein and Johnny Khamis, who will be beginning. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us. I guess I'm first. So I want to first thank the League of Women Voters for having me here today. I've lived in San Jose for the last 37 years. I've lived in District 10 for 17 years. I've been a financial advisor, helping companies save money and for the last 18 years. And I want to use my skills as a financial advisor to help the city overcome its structural budget deficit. My commitment to the community didn't start when I decided to run for San Jose City Council. In fact, over the last 14 years of my life, I've devoted my time and efforts to helping, serving on boards and commissions. I have a great track record of collaborating with my colleagues on commissions and boards to help solve some of the city's problems. And I'm very proud to have the support and commitment from the mayor of San Jose, Pat Dando, the former vice mayor, and the former state assembly member, Jim Canine. And I'm very happy that they joined the thousands of people who are supporting my campaign. Thank you.
My name is Robert Braunstein, and I am running for District 10 City Council. I've lived in the district for 41 years, so I felt that it was really important with Nancy Pyle terming out at the end of her term that we have somebody that's really proactive and aggressive to represent the area this time around. I went to all the local schools, Williams, Bret Harte, and Leland. Was proud to graduate from Leland High School, then went on to San Jose State University and got my master's degree in journalism at the University of Missouri. When I came back, my wife and I, our first home was in the Santa Teresa area of the district, and I've lived the last 19 years by the Fontana Park area. I know there are serious problems in this city. I know that we need to get the city's financial situation in order and before we can do anything else. And then we need to handle the crime problem. We need to get our San Jose Police Department fully staffed and then make it easier to do business in San Jose so that we can attract more corporations and have them help out in the city too. So I humbly ask for your vote in this election, and back to you, Jolene. Thank you, Rosaleen. Thanks so much for having us with you today.
Thank you. It's our pleasure to be able to sponsor this. The first question I'd like to pose to you, and we'll alternate between the two of you and with the first response, is in the first 6 months of your office, if you were elected, what would you do?
Okay.
And Robert, you would go first.
I think within the first 6 months, the number one priority is to enact all of the provisions of Measure B. I've been very strong on this from very early in the campaign. In order to get the city's finances to where we need them to be, you have to do that. You have to get Measure B and all of the elements enacted. I know that it will be in the courts, but I anticipate most of it going through. The elements that don't go through we'll deal with, but most of them should go through. And then you need to fully staff the police department, and you need to do all you can to make sure that the police department is a good, solid department with a mixture of young recruits, veteran officers, so that we have a strong department. I have a good plan to do that. And I think that one of the things that we really need to do is make sure that we have a good staff on City Council, to make sure that we are proactive in the neighborhoods, to make sure that every neighborhood in District 10 is well represented, and so we can get on top of situations and, again, be proactive. I think you really want a City Council person who's going to take care of your needs in the district.
Thank you. Johnny?
Yeah, well, in the first 6 months, I don't know that the pension reform plan will be out of the court system, but I will definitely vote for it if it is. Make sure it's implemented. But my first priority is to make sure that the substation is open for the South County. It's been around since 2009 and nobody's used it. I think it would be a great way for police to save time in commuting. I've crunched the numbers and I think it would save the city money, increase response times, and make the police officers more happy to have less commutes. Other things that I would start to work on include cutting overtime for salaried employees. I think it's very unfair that a salaried employee would actually gets overtime, and start to change the way that we have sick leave accumulation to save even more money in the city so we can put it to work in other areas.
Okay, can I rebut to that real quick?
Thank you. Yes.
Very quickly, just to correct Johnny a little bit here, salaried employees don't get overtime. Salaried employees are salaried employees. Battalion chiefs and police captains are hourly employees and they get overtime because they're hourly employees. I think we do need to make them salaried employees so that we can save some money on the overtime that they earn, especially battalion chiefs in the fire department. Five of the top 10 paid employees in the city last year were battalion chiefs who made close to $300,000 a year. So by making them salaried employees and not allowing them to have overtime, we could get a handle on that.
Thank you. And would you like to respond?
You know, they are salaried employees, and I am talking about the chiefs, and I am talking about the sergeants and lieutenants, and they are salaried employees, and I do want to, and I'm glad that Robert does agree with me on this, that it needs to be done.
Okay. Thank you very much. Our next question, what ideas do you have to promote community involvement in your parks in your district and to help keep them from becoming a blighted area of the community? Because we do know about the cutbacks that have happened. And this will be yours first, Johnny.
Well, I've actually been delighted to work with lots of community organizations. I'm a member of Kiwanis. I'm a member of the Martin Fontana Park Association. I'm a member of the Boy Scouts. I actually have two kids that I'm very involved in, two separate Boy Scout troops. I often on Saturday mornings go pick up garbage, water trees. We've adopted, actually, my family's adopted 2 trees in that park, so we often water in the park that my opponent lives next to. So we are very active in community service, and I want to increase the amount of. I would like to promote organizations like Kiwanis, and I want the Rotary, and many of the other service organizations to make sure that people participate with them and the projects in the community to make our city a better place to live in.
Thank you.
I think we need to work hard to bring collaborative efforts to not only our parks but to everything that we do in the city. The parks, there's an event tomorrow that I'll be joining in where they're spreading out some ground covering around Fontana Park, and you need to be a part of that. I'm also a member of the Fontana Park group, and we'll really push as a city council person to bring collaborative efforts to that. I've done that in my show and bring a lot of people together to do things where you're going to get things done, but it's not necessarily going to cost anything to the city. You can bring people together, have them volunteer, and get things done. And that's something that I think, as a real collaborator, that I can bring to the picture.
Thank you so much. Next question has to do with PG&E. And we do know that there's now a fee attached to removal of any trees on personal property. Would you promote the idea of requiring PG&E to get a permit and pay a fee to remove trees from city property? And would this fee go to park maintenance?
I don't see any reason why PG&E should be singled out to pay for the removal of trees on property. If they're paying for if they're removing the trees themselves and paying for the removal, that's fine. They shouldn't. I don't feel like they should have to pay anything on top of that.
It does cost the city money to go through the fee, to go through the process of getting approving the trees to be removed. So I think it's fair. If we're charging as citizens, we should be charging PG&E as well. Also, it is very important that PG&E work with the community as it now does. I think we had an issue with PG&E working with the Martin Fontana Park Association, and I'm very happy to report that PG&E is actually working with the parks on the trimming and the removal of trees that is going on now.
Can I
Yes,
Yeah,
sure.
and I think certainly PG&E would need to pay for their permits and all of that, as Johnny suggests. But also that this is an example of where you need to have a city council person and their staff that really has their tentacles into the community, where you know of things that are going on early, so you can get a handle on those issues. And I think the PG&E cutting down the trees at Fontana Park was an example of that. And I think you know, you need to make sure that when you do vote for city council, you know that you have somebody that's going to be on top of those issues.
Right. Do you have something else?
Yeah, and I'm
Please.
glad you said that I was on top of the issues, and I thank you for supporting that. And I do.
I don't believe I said that.
You know, again, I was intimately involved in that process and collaborated with the people on that association and many other associations.
Thank you. Traffic. A number of questions came in about the traffic issues and the safety issues associated with it, to do with schools, but specifically they thought one of our contributors thought there was a specific issue with a pedestrian crossing at Meridian and Oak Glen Way, that it was especially dangerous. They'd like to know what you would do about this. And we'll start with Johnny on this.
Well, you know, a lot of the problems for traffic enforcement comes out of the fact that our budget is not there to have enough police officers out there policing and conducting the traffic enforcement. And I definitely want to work on that issue. I have some ideas on changing, increasing the number of patrols by using a program called the Reserve Force Program that's been in place since 1940, and these are trained police officers. Right now we only have a few, but I want to quadruple the amount of trained police officers to be used to supplement our police force, so that we can get more patrolling done and we can you know, have safer streets to live on.
Thank you.
Well, there's a couple of things there, and I'll get to the reserve officers in a second. First of all, with traffic, I think I live right in that area, and I walk my dog. When I walk my dog to the supermarket there, we go right across that area, and it is a dangerous area. So we need to do something about that and get involved with that. And I know the city's budget is tough. That is a city street, so we're going to have to look at ways to get the neighbors involved and work to get that improved. I was also against raising the speed limit right by Bret Harte Middle School to 50 miles an hour. We needed to deal with Caltrans and doing that and keeping it at 45. But the reserve officer idea just will not work. As Johnny said, we have very few reserve officers right now to train those officers. They're fully trained, just like our new recruits are fully trained. So we're having enough trouble getting enough new recruits through the training process, and he's going to add reserve officers to that. He's modeling this after a program in Los Angeles. Well, in Los Angeles right now they have 650 reserve officers. So when they're working just 16 hours a month, you can handle that. But with 90 reserve officers right now and trying to recruit new officers when we're trying to get new full-time recruits going, it just doesn't work.
Thank you.
Well, Robert, I disagree with you. I think doing something is better than doing nothing. These are trained police officers. A lot of them are retirees, and I would love to use them to supplement the force right now. It's not just Los Angeles that uses these. Many other cities surrounding us, including Milpitas, does successfully use these police officers to supplement their police force. They can be used on anything that a normal police officer does, and I will be working to make sure that this and I believe it's a stopgap measure to supplement our current police force.
So you're saying that you want them to work more than 16 hours a month?
We were allowed to do double rebuttals?
This was his 2 years.
So yes, I am willing to have them work more than 16 hours per month.
For free?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. Specific question about ballot measure D. And how do you stand on the minimum wage, which in San Jose right now is $8, and if D were to pass would be $10. We'll start with you.
I'll vote no on Measure D, and the reason is a business reason. I think San Jose raising the minimum wage by itself is not a good idea for business. You don't want to have San Jose with a higher minimum wage than surrounding cities like Sunnyvale and Santa Clara and Los Gatos. Now, I understand that San Francisco already has raised their minimum wage, but San Francisco has very different dynamics financially than we do with a much larger tourist industry to be able to support a higher minimum wage. San Jose can't afford it right now, and I don't want us to be at a disadvantage with other neighboring cities.
Thank you.
I also am opposed to Measure D because it immediately raises the cost to businesses, mostly service-related businesses, including restaurants and dry cleaners and nonprofits, in fact. I'm opposed to it because it doesn't carve out restaurants. It doesn't carve out nonprofits. And in other cities, they have carved out minimum wage things to exclude waiting staff, for example, because waiting staff makes a lot of tips and they don't technically get minimum wage in the end. So I have been opposed to it and I will continue to be.
Thank you. There's an area, Via Valente Mall, that has had many vacancies for a long time. The questionnaire said, what do you do or what could you do to help bring in a variety of small stores there? And this would go to you first, John.
Well, you know, I have tried to contact the owner of that property several times. She's never returned my phone call. However, you know, I know that there are some efforts that we can make as city council members to make sure that code enforcement inspects the property and make sure that there's no hazards or no tripping hazards or things that people can get hurt on, and ask the owner to make changes in that mall. And I also will work with potential owners of shopping, you know, of grocery stores, what have you. In fact, I have a few friends that have invited them to come look at that mall. But you can't force industry to open there. But I will do my best to bridge the gap.
Thank you.
Well, I can tell you that I have gotten in contact with the management people in that mall, the Biagini brothers. Paul Biagini has assured me that the PW market will be replaced with another supermarket, so that's good news for people that were hearing rumors that there was going to be a condo complex built there. They assure me that there will be another supermarket there. And then once you have that anchor tenant, then that attracts other businesses surrounding that. So I think, as you can see, as your potential city council person, I will be on top of these issues. I'll talk to the people involved, and I'll help, if I need to, I'll help broker the deal to get that done. You know, I talked to Fred Zanato, who owns Zanato's grocery store. They're interested in moving in. I understand that there are other grocery stores that are interested in moving in there as well. They were surprised by the PW supermarket going bankrupt there. They had hoped that they would be there till their lease ran out in 2015 was when that was going to run out, so they were surprised that it ran out early. There are plans now with an architect to renovate the shopping center. That's underway right now. So, you know, as your city council person, I'll work hard, get that done and get it pushed through as quickly as possible.
Thank you.
And just to let you know, and again, I'm there. I would love to promote business. I know that Zanato's actually was subsidized for one of their properties in downtown San Jose, and I don't want government subsidies to enter the mix there. I don't believe in supporting business artificially with taxpayers' money, and so I would not support a Zanato's moving in if they required taxpayer money to do so.
Okay, thank you very much. Transportation priorities. Can you explain your expertise in this area and how you propose to move your transportation priorities forward? And we would start first with John on this one.
Well, transportation is difficult. District 10 has some very difficult streets to navigate. We are near a couple of major highways, and as a person who drives on those roads every day, I do get caught in that traffic. That being said, I want to make sure that the budget is under control so that we can improve our highways and roads to make them smoother, to add the electronic light so that we can have the lights turn on in a sequence so that we can move traffic more smoothly. These are the types of fairly inexpensive projects to do, assuming that we do get over our structural budget deficit. I think there has been too much deferment of maintenance on our roads, and that's something that I would love to improve if I'm elected.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think transportation is very important, and the 2040 plan calls for more high-density building around light rail systems, and we need to make sure that we do that. We need to take advantage of our light rail system. We need to take advantage of BART as it comes to San Jose, which I'm thrilled that it finally is after all of these years of trying to get BART down here. And I do think we need to make sure that as part of the 2040 plan as well, that we don't continue growing south of Rakovich Way in Almaden, where we would have more traffic going through Almaden Expressway into that area. And I agree again with Johnny that some of the traffic we have now is really quirky. Coming off of 85 on the Almaden Expressway there at the Costco Mall is a wacky thing, and they've got this big sign there. I have no idea what it means. And it was supposed to fix the problem, and I don't think it really did. So we'll work on that. We'll try and make it better, and we'll make sure that there's not more buildings south of Almaden so that there's more traffic on Almaden Expressway. I won't let that happen.
Right. Would you like to make a comment on that?
Well, no, I also agree with the 2040 plan of building businesses, higher density housing next to the commuter rail project that we have, and I'm very happy that BART eventually will come to San Jose. When it gets there, I will be very proud to see it through.
I think many of us will be using it too. Thank you so much. There's a question here about your background in technology and how you could bring that experience to City Hall. And Robert, that would be your first to respond.
Well, on my high school sports show that I do, we run our show on computers. So we have a computer network of 7 computers that are networked together. I handle the networking of that, and I also handle the operation of one of the main computer that we put together to be able to handle our HD product. I helped design that computer and help it get built so that when we were rendering out our HD movies, it rendered out in full time and was very effective. So I was able to put together a computer with a RAID configuration with a RAID controller card that allowed us to do that and render out HD movies in real time. And that's kind of a big thing. And my brother is a software engineer, and he's helped me learn a lot as we've gone along with this. As a small business owner, you need to learn these things on your own. So I'm our IT guy there at the office. But I also edit on Adobe Premiere Pro and After Effects and Photoshop and all of that I've learned, and which is a great thing to have when Adobe is one of your major tenants in San Jose as a corporate tenant.
Yes, thank you. Johnny?
And I think Adobe should hire you. I think I don't have a huge expertise in actual hands-on technology, but I have been my sons and I've led 2 teams in Lego robotics for Los Alamitos Elementary School, and we are winning. We won. We came in second place last year in the regional competition. I do think that we can apply technology to our everyday needs in the city to make our city more efficient. One way, I think, is to use the project management software on the permitting process to make sure that we can follow the workflow for permits and so that our end users actually get a benefit of seeing where their permitting process is, and so that the city can become more reliable.
Thank you.
I'd like to, real quickly,
Yes.
I was also a part of my son's robotics team at Los Alamitos as well. And I just wanted to emphasize how important it is to be able to speak the language of technology when you're dealing with high-tech companies that you're trying to bring to San Jose. If you can speak their language, they'll know that you're understanding what they're talking about and that you can help them out and meet their needs when they do come to San Jose.
Right. Thank you, gentlemen. We're moving to the end of our forum, and each of you have 1 minute to close, and we'll start with Robert.
That went really fast. Thank you very much again for having us here today. I hope you'll choose the person that on City Council that you will feel most comfortable with. Somebody that you can talk to, somebody that when you give them a phone call, you can feel confident that they're going to pick up your call and answer the needs of not only yourself, but of your community and your organizations in Almaden. I hope you'll pick the person who's going to have the best relationship with the police department in Almaden. Somebody that knows the police department, knows the police officers there. I went on 2 ride-alongs with sergeants in the area and talked to dozens, literally dozens of police officers in going through this campaign. It's been a pleasure going through the campaign. I've enjoyed so much meeting so many of you at your homes as I walk through the districts. Wonderful people in Almaden, and again, it's one of the greatest places in the world to live. I think I am that person that you can feel comfortable with and that you can call and get a good response. And so I humbly ask for your vote in this election and hope that all of the people in District 10 will vote for me during this election. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much. John.
And I want to thank the League of Women Voters again, and thank you to the community, not just in Almaden, but all over the district. I know our city's facing severe financial problems, and I think we need leaders who understand finance and who have a commitment to make reforms necessary to fix our problems. I've stood up for public safety. I have stood up for pension reform. I've stood up for against raising taxes, and I don't make promises that I can't keep. Voters do know where I stand because I'm very clear about where I stand. As a commissioner, I've collaborated with fellow commissioners, elected officials, and community leaders to solve problems in the city over the last 14 years. And as a council member, I will do the same. I will work with city council members to make government more efficient so that we can provide better services for our citizens. I want to thank all of you, and please vote for Johnny Khamis for San Jose City Council.
Gentlemen, I found out that we have a couple more minutes.
Wonderful.
Yes, and so I want to give you each an opportunity to add one thing. The first thing, you're walking into City Hall, you've been elected, your family's there to take pictures of you in your new office, and I know where Nancy's office is, and I'm assuming you would get that nice space. And so number 10 is up there, and that's your district, and you've been thinking about who you're hiring, but you haven't done it yet. You walk in, what's that very first thing you're going to do? And Johnny, what are you going to do?
You know, I will think about the situation and thank God and thank my family and thank my supporters. I will think of all the hard work that went into this campaign and all the support that the community has given me, and I will never forget that the fact that I've received so much support in this campaign, and I'll say it already. Thank you very much.
Okay, and what are you going to do?
Well, I think number one is I'm going to thank the supporters in District 10 and think of them from day one. And I'll think of them from the first minute I'm on City Council to the very last minute when I walk away. The people of District 10 are the most important ones. It's part of this. You're representing them. They don't have anybody else representing them on City Council. I'm the one. So I will make sure that I hire a staff on that day that is reflective of the demographics in the district and of the people in the district. I want to have staff members who live in the district so that we can make sure that that we, again, are proactive and getting on top of the issues from the very beginning. And I really care about that area. If you haven't been to Almaden or Blossom Valley or Vista Park, go there. There's beautiful areas there. You can ride your bike, you can hike, you can do all sorts of things. And we have a great dog park there, and you can see my dog Cosmo when you go there. And he's famous at the dog park. So it's the people of District 10 that I'll be thinking about first.
Right. But we don't want to go into the lake, right?
No, you don't want to go into the lake.
The lake does have an issue. No one asked about that, but you know, that is something that is beautiful to look at, but it's not real safe.
No. There's a lot of mercury contamination, and I've actually attended a lot of meetings from the Water District, and I understand the problems, and I'm looking forward to collaborate with them on ways that we can improve that lake and have it become less toxic.
Right.
Yeah, it is a definite problem.
Area.
We also have a goose problem there. And I don't want to bring up goose stuff, but as Vice President Biden would call it. But there's a goose problem, and there is a mercury problem, as Johnny pointed out. So we need to work on that lake.
There's some areas.
There are people that want to do a variety of things there, and some of them pretty drastic. So we need to take a very close look at that and see what we can do to not only fix the lake, but maybe use that area, use the lake to make it a revenue generator for the city. I'm always looking for ways for the city to make money without raising taxes. So if we can do that, all the better.
It's wonderful to have two such well-informed candidates for District 10. Very important district for lots of different reasons in our community. Want to encourage you to go to our website, Smart Voter, for more information. If you haven't registered to vote, deadline is the 22nd of October. Thank you again for joining us for this forum, and thank you very much, gentlemen, for being with us.
Thank you.